And now, Manchester United could be sold by the Glazers, according to a story which is being reported by Sky tonight. They say the Glazer family is preparing to formally announce its intention to examine potential sources of outside investment that could include a full-blown auction. Sources have told Sky that investment bankers were being instructed by Manchester United's owners to advise on the process, and it's likely to include a full or partial sale or strategic partnership with third parties. To talk about the World Cup and also this emerging story around Manchester United, delighted to say that Matt Slater, senior football news reporter with The Athletic, is with us. Matt, good evening.
Good evening.
Interesting story. I mean, this one has been kind of circling as a rumour for a little while, that the Glazers were considering, if not necessarily a full sale of the club and getting out of Manchester United entirely, potentially coming in and taking some investment from outside and selling some of their shares.
Yes, indeed. And it's being reported by The Athletic now as well. So, yes, I can confirm that the rumours are true. It's a very similar situation to Liverpool and OTB SPORTS Group. And it's the timing is remarkable with those two clubs. Of course, such fierce rivals off the field, but on the field, but off the field, their ownership groups get on pretty well and are often quite closely aligned in terms of football finance. And FSG have got there slightly earlier, but I think the Glazers are going to test the market, very seriously test the market. I think they've appointed 2 US banks. I think it's Rothschild and JP Morgan, whereas FSG, it was Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs. So, you've got 4 huge banks there, which is a bit of a clue as to also, I think, where potential buyers are likely to emerge from first, not exclusively, but I think you only have to look at the last few sales, last few big football takeovers. It's the wind is blowing from the States. It's a private equity world at the moment. Chinese money's out, Russian money's out. A lot of the big sovereign wealth funds from the Gulf are already spoken for. So unless someone like a Jim Ratcliffe or another sovereign wealth fund wants to kind of get their act together, my guess would be this is going to be another American syndicate.
Matt, when it comes to this timing, how much of an influence has the protests against the Glazers, maybe even a sharpening of feeling around the European Super League last year, how much has that fed into the decision by the Glazers to potentially cash in some, if not all, of their chips here?
Yeah, I think all of that. They've had a good run. I think there's the cost of the stadium, so that's weighing on them. That'll weigh on the price a little bit. I think when they see someone like-minded, like the FSG crowd, make the same decision, I think that would have given them pause for thought. I also think that there is a sense that the Chelsea sale could well be the top of the market for a bit. We're heading into a global recession, interest rates are going up. The Premier League did really well in its last round of international service in particular. But there's some headwinds, choppy waters and all those cliches. And until the kind of paradigm shifts, I'm using lots of business terminology here, but it's only because people talk to me like this and it seeps in. Until you get something like a Super League or the next dramatic step forward in media rights, which is the one everyone's been talking about and waiting for, is this going direct to consumer, Netflix for football, streaming, people having a direct relationship, clubs having direct relationships in that middle. Until you get that, and I don't think we're that close, then this might be a good time to cash your chips in. It might not. They might not get the price they want. But it's interesting that both of these two big clubs, England's 2 biggest clubs, are doing the same thing at the same time.
Yeah, maybe they watched that Todd Bowley situation taking over from Roman Abramovich during the summer and thought that was a very complex sale because of just the nature of the way that Abramovich had to pass on the club. And maybe they feel that there are investors in the United States particularly who are primed to potentially come in here to buy some, if not all, of the club. On the face of it, Manchester United an incredibly attractive prospect given their commercial power, despite the fact that their position on the pitch has declined since 2013. They are still one of the biggest clubs and one of the biggest money-making clubs, crucially, within the world. If an investor was to look to come in, you're not just necessarily buying them as a prestige product. This is a club that still makes a lot of money.
100%. Let's not, let's not recency bias here. Let's just turn the clock back 10 years. For year after year, United used to top the Deloitte money list in terms of revenue. It was only relatively recently Real and Barca knocked them down to third, and now United have slipped even more because they've just not performed in the field. But Man United were a money-making machine. They were streets ahead, and they still are. I won't say streets ahead, but they're still ahead in terms of brand and fan base. They've been punching below their weight. They're attractive for that reason. Whilst they have to do some serious work at Old Trafford, and that, like I said, will weigh on the price a little bit. Others might see it as an opportunity. Brilliant, plain canvas. Get in there and do something with the stadium. They might see loads of headroom for United, but they are, and I think Chelsea's interesting because that went for 2.5, and a lot of people sort of think, okay, where would Chelsea be in the kind of natural picking order of things if it wasn't for Abramovich? We ran them at a loss for so long. Right, well then we can all kind of adjust from there. And I think ordinarily United people would be thinking, well, we're worth at least 50% more, maybe 75%. And that's where you're getting maybe double. And I think they're going to want $5 billion. I think. Whether they'll get it, I don't know.
I guess they'll find out. I guess that's how the investment banks that they've just instructed to go and look for a sale here, they're going to earn their cash by finding potentially buyers in around the $5 billion mark.